Hey, this is Kate. If you're enjoying the content on the Good Fight channel, then please do hit like and subscribe below. Thank you. So you got the fight coming up September 10th. It's for the unified titles at super featherweight. I guess I'm just interested kind of how do you rate this in terms of the fights that you've had in your career? Does this feel like the biggest ever?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every fight now from it's funny because you say that coming up too, because every fight is so important because if you screw up on the come up, it's like you may not ever get to this stage where we're at right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now that we're at this stage, I gotta win. I gotta continue to win. Every fight could be, the last fight because this sport is so unforgiving. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those few sports where like losing can be very detrimental to your career. And so this is very, very big fight for me. I've worked really hard to get myself into this position. And so obviously added pressure and that's okay. I'm fine. I feel like I've had the right fights to make me ready for this, the pressure and the competition. But yeah, it's definitely really, really big. There's a lot on the line.
So following you on Twitter, it feels like there's been a lot of animosity between you and Alycia Baumgardner. And I feel like you've said that the dislike is genuine. It's real. Why do you dislike her?
I feel like it was really her. It wasn't me because what I did was and I'm talking about like the cattiness and the dislike
Hmm.
because really it wasn't personal for me. When she won the belt against Terry Harper, it was only natural for me as a competitor and as a world champion who wants to go undisputed to call her out. It's nothing personal. I was calling every champ out. No, I was going after Terry Harper for who knows how long trying to get that fight. And so when Baumgartner got it, now I'm coming for her. She's the one who seemed to take it a little personally, thinking that I was calling me a hater, which I think that is the wrong word because if you're a real champion and you want to be undisputed, then you want to challenge yourself against the best and you want to fight the other champion. So it took her a really long time to even say my name.
You have been critical of her, though, in terms of, I've heard you say she was a one-dimensional fighter. You've said that she hasn't really done anything in the sport of boxing to get to this point. She's kind of riding on the coattails of others that have gone before her, like you or Clarissa or other female fighters. And I saw her promoter, Dimitri Salita, come out and say it was kind of wrong of you to denigrate a fellow female fighter. Do you feel like that's like a weird expectation we have of women fighters, that they should hold up all other women fighters rather that they can have these rivalries that make men's sports thrive?
Exactly. I think it was so out of place for Salita to even jump in and like, it's not your place. Like, let us do the shit talking, you do the promoting, and like stay out of it. My whole point to that was I feel like I've been busting my ass in the sport. I didn't take my first, this is all part of the shit talk, right? I didn't take my first fight until I was 18 years old, my first boxing
Mm-hmm.
match. She was boxing since she was 8 years old. So my whole point to that statement was, where the heck have you been? Like, I feel like she's been bullshitting. I feel like she's been bullshitting and she came around at the right time and women's boxing's built up. She took the belt from Terry Harper. Great. I can't say anything about that. She did what she had to do. But I feel like I've been hustling in this sport and I've been working my ass off getting to the top. My accolades and my resume, like school is hers, and then in half the time. And so my whole point is that I think I've been working hard and she's been bullshitting, and now she has the opportunity, but I feel like she's levels behind me.
In what way do you think that will show in the ring?
When it comes to experience and adaptability, she does what she does really well, but I just feel like I have more tools. And if the fight goes in one direction, I have the skills and the experience to adapt to that. Whereas I don't think she's had that yet. And I think she's a good fighter. I think she's going to be really good one day. She can have the belts when I move up and I'm done. She probably will, but I just think that I'm the more well-rounded, complete fighter.
I'm sure it must feel really cool to you to be part of such a big event. And I know that, the fight that you have with Baumgardner could have been a headliner, right? But you chose to
Mhm.
accept being a co-main because this is such a historic card, right? All female fights at the O2 in London. It's just a really cool event. Two fights that are unified, well, one undisputed, the other one unified. So just a massive card in general. Being involved in a historic fight like that, do you have an expectation for it to change your life in any way?
It's interesting because I feel like as a female, like when a male wins his first world title, his life is immediately changed, right? It's like life changing for them. And in my come up, while women's boxing was still evolving, it wasn't a life changing accomplishment for me. Yeah, my money went up a little bit and this and that, and I have a
Uh-huh.
belt now. But it's almost like for women to really get that, it's like we have to go undisputed to get what a man would get for his first world title. And whatever, I'm not complaining, that is the way it is. But it's not like after every big win, I'm getting these life, like, it's not life changing for me. And I think it will be. I do think this is like still the biggest fight. And I keep thinking like, even after a Hamadouche fight, I'm like, oh, this is the fight. This is the fight that's going to change
Hmm.
everything. But you just never really know because we're still just developing this market. And I think it keeps me humble, it keeps me working hard. I really don't think about what could happen after this. It's just most important for me to win, and it's very important for me to get paid also. And so I know this is going to up my stock because I want to put all this work in. I want to be able to walk out of this sport comfortable, not have
Uh-huh.
to hustle anymore.
Amen. Watching from the outside looking in, it feels like the British public and Sky, the network, have really warmed to you. They've kind of adopted you. Do you feel like you'll be the home favorite, so to speak, in that fight against Alycia?
I do. I think that she thinks that she might be the home favorite because she is with Matchroom and she has fought out there before.
Right.
But I've been building my brand over there. I've been commentating on Sky Sports. I commentated the Boxer card
Hmm.
as well. And I feel like even back when I was trying to build this fight with Terry Harper, people were hearing my name. And so,
Right.
yeah, I do believe that I'll be the favorite going into that fight.
Are you looking forward to fighting in front of a British crowd? It's different.
Yeah, I've been to a few fights out there, and it really is different. I mean, they're just so hype and energetic, and they have so much passion for the sport. And I think that combined with just being at the O2, you have all the UK fans being at the O2, two huge rivalries on this card. The energy
Right.
is definitely going to be amazing, and yeah, I think it'll be different than what I'm used to.
I got to ask you about the Clarissa and Savannah fight as well, because obviously that's a massive one on that card, the headliner for the undisputed middleweight championship. You were at the fight, the amateur fight that Clarissa lost to Savannah. It was the World
Mm-hmm.
Championships in 2012, right? What did you think when you watched Clarissa lose that fight, and how differently do you think this fight will play out?
God, she was so young. We didn't even know who Clarissa was at the time. Franchon Cruz was the girl at her weight, and Franchon Cruz was the one who was supposed to make the Olympic team. And here Claressa Shields comes, super young, out of the youth, out of nowhere, and just starts whooping on everybody. And so she was definitely like being looked at as a huge threat going into that tournament. She was still very young, and you're still learning to go up against different styles. And I think that Savannah, what I vaguely remember is Savannah just moving a lot, just boxing and moving a lot. And Clarissa's always been very aggressive, and she's always had that dog in her, and she throws a lot. But she was like maybe this close in the space and closing that space. And so Savannah was just able to box and turn and move, and sort of beat her on points. God, that was so long ago. I really wouldn't.
Right.
You can't look at that fight and make a guess based on like who's going to win this fight. Was so long ago, and she's grown so much from then.
You think it's irrelevant to talk about what happened in the amateurs ever?
I think it is very irrelevant. I mean, this fight was literally a decade ago, and she was 17
Right.
years old. So yeah, I wouldn't go based. If you're going to decide who's going to win this fight, I really wouldn't go based off of that. So much has happened since then, but it's a good story, and it's part of the whole narrative. So
How badly you think Clarissa will want the knockout, though?
I know Clarissa wants this win, whether it's a knockout or not. I know that she's always had that dog in her. She always has. That's one of her greatest qualities. She doesn't back down. And I think we're going to see that times 10 in this fight because she wants everybody to know that this bat fight happened 10 years ago, that she's grown and developed since then, and that Savannah's not better than her. And she wants to prove that to the world, and this is her chance. So I just don't see her letting that moment escape her.
Mm-hmm.